What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Quickly unmuting myself. Hello.
Carrie.
What's up?
And Terrence.
What's up?
Not a whole lot, as it turns out, right now. It's a pretty, like, GDC is this week.
GDC is happening now.
Yeah, GDC is happening literally right now. Kind of Funny did a cool indie game showcase that was pretty cool, and I saw some games that I wanted to wish list out of that. I think they're doing like demos right now live on their channels. We're recording this, so definitely go check that out. Steam is tempting me as usual with a lot of games that I'd like to buy, but will not have time to play. Spring sale, indeed. Mm-hmm. And most of us, and unfortunately, like, we're still playing the same shit.
Unfortunately, we're playing an incredible game.
That's right.
Taking
Damn
up
us.
Year, so. Gosh, we're playing the good game.
Warhammer 40k 2, Space Marine 2,
yeah?
whatever. It is fun.
Like it?
Yes, it's fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's my type of game. You just run around and just killing hordes of enemies. How is the multiplayer on that? I haven't played that yet.
On Monster Hunter?
No, we're talking Space Marine.
Okay.
It's
I have
very
one brain
much
cell. Okay.
it's very much a like a throwback to like old 360 games. It's fun. But some of the classes are they try their best to balance the classes, but heavies are hard to kill, man. Like I got that 5 consecutive kills trophy achievement with a heavy, and I don't pick heavies. I pick my favorite class is the one with, I can't remember all the names of classes because I'm old, but the one with the grappling hook.
See, I ain't seen that shit yet. I ain't know what you're talking
about. Well, it's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed it way more than I thought. And most of my time was, I think I actually put an equal amount of time into the co-op and competitive. And you know me, I'm not a competitive person, but it was just so fun to play. I would give it a shot. The bad thing is, you level up your characters parallel from one another, right? So the unlocks that you get for competitive multiplayer do not unlock for co-op multiplayer. Yeah. I haven't been on it in a minute. I heard there's like 1 or 2, brand new PvE maps, so I might actually log in now that you say it, just to kind of experience those. But yeah, man, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, it is. But that's pretty much all of the new things I've been playing. I've downloaded a bunch of old stuff.
Yeah.
Playing Bioshock in 60 frames per second is kind of cool. Like, I don't have a PC. Yeah. I didn't realize how much, like, 60 frames per second makes all the difference in the world. Unfortunately, Space Marines doesn't run at 60 on the Series S, which kind of sucks. But it looks good considering everything that's going on in that game. Yeah, just old shit in that. And Cyberpunk. Slowly making my way through that. The game's really good, man.
It is.
They fixed any of the issues that came out 5 years ago. It's like playing a movie. Like, in the best way possible, though.
I mean,
and the thing is, like,
control everything. It's crazy.
And the wild thing is, like, with that game, all of the side missions and like companion missions and stuff are incredibly captivating. But the main story leaves a little to be desired. And it has that weird, like, RPG thing where it's like, oh, there's a ticking clock, but, like, not really.
Let me go ahead and do 17 hours worth of other shit before I go to the main story.
The Reapers are coming, guys, but, like, on your own time. You know what I mean?
Don't worry about it. They'll get here when they get here.
Right.
I'd be really appreciative if the game industry could just, like, not release any games for like a year so I could catch up on a lot of the stuff that I'd like to play. Because like now that Death Stranding 2 has a release date, like I'm really keen to finally like play Death Stranding,
the first one,
at some point to see if it's something that I'm, because like I said, that trailer, as dumb as it was, it looked cool, and I think I'm ready to let Kojima back into my heart again.
the 10-minute trailer.
Yeah. No, the debut trailer that when they first announced the game was the one that had me interested. The 10-minute trailer might have actually warned me off of it a little bit, because like I said,
I tried to watch it and I made it 2 minutes in and I was like, you know what?
It was full Kojima. It was full Kojima.
Yeah, he's very prolific.
Well, no
that
offense,
sure is
Brad,
a word
I
for
hope-
him.
I really do. If you do play it, I hope you hate it.
I do too, because I don't have. I mean, it's not like I have 60 hours to dump into Death Stranding,
A bunch
and
of
then
nonsense.
yeah, and then
Death
another
Stranding is 5 years old already. God
yeah,
damn.
and then another 60 hours to dive into Death Stranding 2 whenever that comes out. So I hope I hate it too. Like I hope I bounce off immediately, so that I don't have to waste the time on it, because I've got too much other shit to play. Like I just I'm pretty sure I'm right at the end of the low rank campaign in Monster Hunter, so I'm getting ready to go into high rank and to make my way through that. Still playing a shitload of 2 Point Museum, which continues to be fucking excellent. That game's really fun and is a series that I feel like folks have slept on a little bit. And I'm still playing Civilization because I'm a sick person and cannot stop. I have a real concern about Civilization. I got to tell you guys.
Like in general for the game, because I'm concerned like at large.
Well,
currently.
I mean, obviously, yes, to the former. No, I'm concerned about the game, and this is going to sound like some really conceited shit, but it's like a legit concern that I have, right? So, like, Civ 6, I played, I don't know, about 80 hours, give or take. I came very late to Civ 6. And played it, and I never made it past like middle difficulty, and I won some games and I lost some games, but you know, I had a good time. Civ 7, I've played 7 games so far. My last 4 of which have been on Deity, which is the highest difficulty setting, and I have not lost a single game. I'm very concerned that I might be too good at Civilization 7.
Well,
so this is what worries me. Is that I figured it out. I'm seeing through the Matrix. So, but yeah, Monster Hunter, real good. I feel like I'm getting pretty good with the Switch Axe. Feel like I'm
Monster Hunter, real good.
Yeah,
I am well into the high rank campaign.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
I'm farming this one stupid dragon because I'm trying to knock his antenna off so that I can make a helmet, and he's just not dropping it.
That is the
getting on
Monster
my
Hunter
nerves.
experience, my good friend.
Jesus
It is simply
Christ.
you just gotta grind. You simply must grind. Now, I have yet to check to see if if the slay versus capture system is the same as it was in World, where sometimes you get different parts. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that in Rise. It was like you got the same chance.
Oh, really?
At parts.
I thought it was different in Rise as well.
Nope. You got the same chance at parts whether you killed or captured in Rise.
So what's the point of capturing then?
End it that much
To get the fight-
faster.
to get the
Yeah, I
fight
guess
over
so.
quicker.
I guess that's true.
But yeah, so you may just want to check your large monster guide, because that'll tell you what the chances are for certain parts. on a kill versus
11%.
Well, good fucking luck, man. It's better than like a Wrath Ruby, which is usually like 0.5%. And there are some high end pieces that require that shit. So
I will tell you, I was happy to see our boy come in the last little bit that I played here. Fucking Rathalos coming in from out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Micah Rathalos is basically like the Monster Hunter like mascot. He's the
Pikachu of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, he was the big
okay.
boss in the first game, and he's been in every one. So
Yeah, the flagship monster is Rathalos.
yes, so everybody likes him.
I've heard the name countless times, but I think in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the Monster Hunter character is wearing Rathalos
Is
armor.
wearing Wrath armor. Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense then.
Yes.
That's why when
It looks better on her than it does on my character. So
in Smash Brothers, the Rathalos was like a boss fight character when they did the Monster Hunter crossover. So, yep.
look, I hate to sound racist, but they all look the same to me.
I can never remember any of their fucking names. Like I just heard about the name of the actual like end boss one, and it immediately was out of my brain. The minute I heard
Zoshia?
it. Yeah.
Zoshia is really cool, actually. Like, if I can dip into a little bit of lore here. So, spoilers for like the end of the low rank campaign, I guess a little bit, but not really a ton. And this is all speculation, but the way that your hunter reacts to Zoshia, when like the white like Wilk crystals fall off of it and it reveals like what it actually looks like underneath all of that, they're like, what the fuck? Like, there's no way. And that's because pretty sure Zoshia is essentially like a failed clone of Fatalis. Its moveset actually uses like signature moves from all three versions of Fatalis. So Fatalis itself is known as just like the Black Dragon. And then you have Crimson Fatalis and White Fatalis, and the fire moves that Zoshia uses borrows from all three versions of Fatalis. So I get the feeling we will eventually see Fatalis in a long future update, like how Fatalis was like the final monster added to World. I think even with the amount of hours I put into Monster Hunter World, I only actually beat Fatalis like maybe 3 or 4 times. Fatalis is fucking difficult. But he's really cool. So
All the wyverns are really cool. It seems.
well, Fatalis is an elder dragon.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yes, I forgot they're in a separate class. So
Yes, there's a difference between your flying wyverns and your elder dragons. Elder dragons typically are portrayed as having 4 limbs and then wings coming off of their back, whereas flying wyverns have like their wings for arms, basically. I could go on for a long time about Monster Hunter ecology. Yeah, I put 485 hours into Monster Hunter World.
Jesus Christ.
I
you
like
get- you get
Monster Hunter.
I don't want to hear anybody say anything about me. God damn it.
No, I still think we can make fun of you
Right.
for 300 hours in Dissidia. like, I'm sorry, but Dissidia does not have 300 hours worth of content worth playing.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, yo.
Yeah.
PSP.
I was bored, man. I was bored.
I wonder what percentile like you are in of original Dissidia players as far as time played. You have to be in like the 99.99% of all players.
Yeah, of all players, and I better be number one in America.
See, the thing is, Micah, you were bored at work, and I simply had depression. So- anyway, yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds is really good. I'm well into high rank at this point. I'm still not finished the high rank story, but I'm chugging along. I don't think I'm gonna have any time to play this week. I have a show tomorrow with my band Byscore, and then I'm flying out east on Thursday, and I have a show with Premium Vintage, and I won't be back until the middle of next week. So
Well, maybe
I'll
you might be
figure out something to
interested.
play on Switch.
Well, maybe you might be interested in the first news story that we'll talk about here real quick. And I think it's like interesting and both not interesting about this story. So reportedly, Xbox, or Microsoft to be more precise, is going to be releasing a gaming handheld this year, according to reports from Windows Central. Quote, if plans are met, with hardware that's being developed by a partner. So that's a curious that's a curious happening here. So currently, there does exist a couple of these premium handheld consoles that work well with Microsoft's game catalog because they run essentially Windows. They run like the same version of Windows that like a Windows Surface would run. So like, and it's kind of like where we are in this portable space, and this is something that I kind of keep an eye on. Is we're in a kind of a weird spot because there's no Goldilocks option out there because like you have the Steam Deck, which I think most people would say is probably the best choice, even though it is a little bit underpowered compared to some of the competitors that are out there, but it's powerful enough. But the thing that makes Steam Deck really handy is that it has Steam OS, which works. It just works. Like, it just works really well. The downside of which is that if you want to play things outside of Steam, especially on other marketplaces, it's a huge pain in the ass. Like, you can do it, but you have to you have to go through a lot of hacky bullshit that most people are not going to, are not.
You got to jump through a few hoops.
You do. And then on the other hand, you have the other options out there, like the Asus ROG Ally and
Legion
Go, right, is another option that's out there too. And those are more powerful, and they're more expensive, and they run Windows, which means that you can install all of the game stores on there and run games from any of them. But the downside is that Windows really fucking sucks to use on a piece of hardware that's not designed for it, which these handheld consoles are not. So what I find curious about this Microsoft announcement is, are they just putting out a piece of hardware that's going to have the same downfalls as the current crop does? Or do we also see like a, portable version of the Xbox experience, I guess, with this? And I'd be curious to get your guys' thoughts and if this is something that's interesting to you.
I would figure it would just have the Microsoft OS, like not Windows, but well, it probably is going to have Windows underneath, but it's going to have the Xbox OS. Works perfectly fine, and I'm assuming you could also probably download Steam.
Yep.
Maybe they might make it a little more difficult to download Steam since it's Microsoft.
I think they're cool with it. I think they understand that like where the market is
at this point.
So.
But the thing is, if it's okay, Microsoft is kind of all about like delivering the games to you any way possible, right? So why bring out a handheld? What's the point?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's kind of dumb, really. If this is what they're doing, I think that's stupid. But I mean, whatever.
Well, and that's one of the things that I like. One of the biggest questions I have is like, what are they going to bring into this market that is currently not being delivered by the other folks that are out there? Because if you ask most people, like the ones to get are either the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally. I think are the two pretty much the best ones. And it just depends on, are you cool with just Steam and a slightly less powerful piece of hardware, or do you want like the most powerful fucking hardware and it runs like Windows on it? So I would be very curious to see, like, does Microsoft try to come in at like the entry level price point and have like a hardware akin to like the Steam Deck, but it runs Windows and plays all the shit? Or are they gonna kind of compete in that premium space, which I don't think is as successful, but at the same time they have a lot more marketing power than the other two probably would.
Yeah, I was about to say they I mean, I agree it's kind of foolish to put out a handheld in this day and age, but if they are, they've got that brand. And that is the only thing that I think would make it successful, right? Like my wife doesn't know my wife wouldn't play a video game handheld, but if she was getting it for, my son, she wouldn't know what a Steam Deck is, right? Like, but she does know what Microsoft is. Yeah. I don't even think she knows what an Xbox is, but she does know what Microsoft is.
She has to know what an Xbox is. She's married to you.
Well,
you don't play that damn thing.
Right? Yeah, I don't really play it a lot, but yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I think this is it's kind of odd, but like I'm also like kind of out of the whole handheld space, like I haven't really enjoyed a handheld in a very, very long time, Switch included. Like,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, I have it, but I had it because like it was the thing to have, and I don't really I don't really use it. It's just sitting here, literally sitting here, collecting a bunch of fucking dust. So I don't know. Oh, it still works.
Why wouldn't it?
Oh, I figured
One of your
it's
sons
like,
get to it.
Yeah, yeah. Good lord.
I'm curious also with the two of you, because I know Terrence doesn't own one, but like with your Switch, like what percentage would you say did you play handheld versus docked with your Switch? Just ballparking it.
Probably more handheld than docked, just because I'm a bit of a visual whore. I have this TV. It's not a nice TV. It's an okay TV, but I've seen what it can do, and I don't know. There's just something about it. Like even games that do look good on the Switch, like Metroid Dread or something like that, I would just play it in handheld. Also, like I'm not tethered to this room, right? Like I can, if the wife wants to watch TV or something, and she was like, "Oh, come watch this with me," I could bring this up there and play it then. But then she'd be like, "Turn it off," because the clicking of the buttons was annoying. Which, get out of here. Okay, but yeah, mostly handheld.
And what about you, Carrie?
Just as far as
Just
I
the
mean-
ratio between handheld and docked. So
um I would say it's about 50-50, honestly. Like I play a lot like on dock because we've got like decent televisions here, so I might as well. But I also I'll play while my partner is also using the television for something like, PS5 or I play, I take the Switch with me when I fly, and I fly a lot these days, so I'm obviously not bringing a dock with me to kind of defeats the purpose. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's about 50-50.
I mean, I'm like 80-20 handheld, and that's only because I played it docked a lot when I first got it. I couldn't tell you the last time I played a Switch game on a TV. Like it's almost all handheld at this point. Now, Terrence, the question I have to you is, if you were to invest in a gaming handheld, does something from Microsoft pique your interest more, especially because you're kind of on the Game Pass train right now, or do you think that a Steam Deck would probably still be the way you'd want to go for that?
It depends on how much I can get for free, because I'm a cheap bastard, right? But Steam has a lot more stuff, right? Steam's PC, there's a lot of like other things on the PC that I would like to play that probably wouldn't be on the Microsoft handheld, unless you can put Steam on the Microsoft handheld. If it's stronger, if it's a more powerful system, I don't know. I would have to hear people's reviews of the system first. I know the Steam Deck is everyone loves their Steam Deck. But I would have to hear what people were saying about the product first before making a decision. And I would probably be playing it in handheld mode more because, 900p on a fucking 60-inch TV. I can't do that. It just looks... Ugh.
We're all going to be mighty impressed when the Switch 2 can output at 1080 on...
it's better.
I would think at a bare minimum it will. I hope they at least find it within themselves to maybe up that to 1440 if we're lucky. But who knows? We probably could not be so lucky.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, this is curious. I'm certainly intrigued. Though I don't know if it matters to me, because like I said, I love my Steam Deck and I can't. I'm one of those idiots that will find a way to put the other game stores on the console. Like I don't have a problem going around that loop. So, for me, Steam Deck is fine. I haven't had my head turned at all by by the other competitors out there. So I don't think Microsoft could bring something to the table that's going to really make me care. But I just do find it interesting that they're not only getting into the space, which I think does make sense, but doing it so soon, reportedly, is the interesting part, especially with the Switch 2 coming out at some point this year. So
I just don't get it. Also, you have to take into account how much time you get out of a hand. How do you get out of handheld mode? Because the Rogue Ally and the Legion Go, they're stronger systems, but you get like 2.5 hours worth of playtime.
That's the thing, right?
If you're legit like traveling, yeah, that's a concern. I mean, I'm always by a plug when I'm playing my Steam Deck anyway, so like it is what it is.
If you're on a train or something going somewhere and you only got an hour and a half worth of battery power because you got like 75 watts on the damn thing, like, all right, well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing for me is battery life, just because of the fact that I play so often while I'm on long cross-country flights. So it's like, if it can't last more than an hour and a half, 2 hours, then quite frankly, I am not interested. Like that's big for me. So, but not everybody is an idiot who moved 2,800 miles. So, you know.
So let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about kind of the shit news around the industry this week. Micah, go ahead and say your favorite line, because it applies here with this next story.
Get your politics out of my gaming.
Yeah, that's the one. That's exactly the one.
Yeah.
So if you guys are not looked forward listeners, last week Jay and I briefly talked about the case of Mahmoud Khalid, who was a student over here on a green card who was basically snatched up by ICE last week from his dorm at Columbia University and was essentially jailed for not committing any crime, but just organizing protests on Columbia's campus to support Palestinian rights, which is legal and a First Amendment protected right that we have in this country. So that's the thing that's going on in politics, but you might be curious how that affects gaming. Well, a lot of international game developers have canceled plans to fly to the U.S. this week for GDC, which is going on right now because of the administration's treatment of legally, visiting immigrants, essentially, or
I mean, there have been, like, even beyond this situation with him, like, there have been other instances of people who have all the correct paperwork, all the correct visas, basically being detained by ICE and sent to jail or deported, in spite of the fact that they are doing everything legally correctly, because this administration is so full of shit. But yeah, I mean, I have friends who are basically worried about international travel right now because they're concerned about their ability to return safely to the United States. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this one fucking bit. Like, international travel in and out of the United States right now is not safe. It's not. It doesn't matter if you have everything in order, if you have all your ducks in a row as far as all of your correct identification and all your correct visas and paperwork and all of that. Doesn't fucking matter, because this administration will throw your ass in a cage for 3 weeks and not call your family about it regardless. Like, they don't fucking care. So it sucks. I have many trans friends right now who are extremely afraid to try and travel in and out of the country because of how this administration is treating trans individuals right now. But yeah, like, shit sucks here, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a fucking nightmare every day. I used to read the news every single day. And I cannot, like, I try to keep up with what's going on, but like, it is so overwhelming every single day that, like, I can't it feels like I'm setting myself on fire just trying to fucking get through the daily news at this point. So, good on these devs for, protecting their teams and whatnot. And obviously there are other ways to promote your product without going in person to an event like GDC, but it sucks because GDC is a massive networking kind of opportunity for this industry. So, it's a bummer, but I'm completely unsurprised, and I'm glad that a lot of devs are, prioritizing the well-being of their employees.
I will never forgive these niggas for doing this shit. Like, I will never forgive these people for voting for this bullshit for the rest of my life. For as long as I live. If you tell me you voted for Donald Trump, I might smack the shit out of you.
I want to smack the shit out of you.
Real talk. Like, I just might
You're
smack
like,
the shit out
I
of you
might
and just
know.
walk
I'm
away.
gonna. Like,
Here's the thing. I've been in a fight before, and like, it hurts to get punched. So I know, I know the possible repercussions of smacking the shit out of somebody. Just
I
on
have
the beat.
smacked the shit out of people for less.
Well, get on you. But yeah, like these people, I wouldn't. And it takes place in San Francisco. You're supposed to be,
Yeah.
San Francisco's supposed to be like,
Well, that's where all the
Good for everybody.
tech that's where all the tech
That's where the
giants
tech
live,
people
too.
live.
Here's the thing.
Billionaires
Look, here's the
live.
thing about San Francisco, right? Is it is like on one end of the spectrum, you have the fact that like events like the Folsom Street Fair have been able to go on for more than 40 years in San Francisco, basically uninterrupted without any kind of incident. If you don't know what the Folsom Street Fair is, look it up, but not at work. On the other end, you've got all of these fucking douchey tech bros who have in many ways ruined what that city is, because they've done nothing but drive up the price of real estate, drive up the price of rent, drive up the price of everything, and then of course just completely fucking bailed on the city. And they're full of shit, and that's why every time I see someone driving a Tesla around here, I am this much closer to just, hitting the gas full speed straight into them. But
Michael, what were you about to say?
Yeah, look, good on them, and I wouldn't be surprised if more people were to do this, right? Like the whole America First is very isolationist, and like what's gonna happen? Like if we keep on the trajectory, like isn't the World Cup in the Americas?
It is
next
in
year?
the U.S. in 2028. Yes.
So, like,
and the Olympics are in the United States in another year.
Okay,
We're
man,
in LA. Like,
you wanna if the world wants to make a statement, to tell America to like
eat
get
shit and
rid
die.
of no, not you shouldn't die, not you shouldn't die, because you don't abandon your friends. You have an intervention with them and say your crazy boyfriend is fucking you up, and you need someone new, and you need to do what you got to do to like oust this dude. But I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the world came together and said, you know what, you want America first, fine. And then the only people that would come here are, the Russians. And I mean, it just,
The Russians, the Gulf states,
yeah,
all the worst fucking people.
all the worst people, yo. All the worst people.
I said months ago, once he won, like I would love to see several like Western countries boycotting the Olympics. Now that's very selfish of me to say, because again, like that is literally like the stage for those athletes that they prepare for 4 years to fucking do, and that would really suck for them to not be able to perform there. But at the same time, like to Micah's point, it would be an incredibly powerful statement. But on the other hand, like this is the point, right? Like this is kind of the whole point of having these draconian policies and cracking down on people in this way, is that they don't want foreigners to come over, or at least the foreigners that they don't want. And by they I mean like the Republican Party doesn't want coming over here, and by that I mean like brown people, LGBTQ people, folks like that. Like that's why they do this, is to depress folks from making the trip over here. Now that has unintended consequences when you have other countries that aren't trying to fuck with us because of this shit, which I absolutely do not blame them to do. But unfortunately, making that decision to not attend this conference kind of plays into their hands in a perverted way, which fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks for everyone. It sucks for us. It sucks for those developers, because again, GDC is a huge event for
Right.
making contacts with publishing partners and stuff like that in this industry, and for a lot of independent developers, it's probably the most important event that they attend on an annual basis. And it just really fucking sucks that because, half this country lost their fucking minds, or couldn't remember shit, that they feel that their safety is threatened
Lost their minds?
just by coming here.
Or just never had it to begin with. Which one is it?
I'm talking more about the folks who either changed their vote or decided not to vote that did vote in 2020. Because if those folks had made a different choice, we wouldn't be in this mess. So
I blame a lot of people for people that not vote.
there's a lot of people at fault.
That's for a different podcast.
It is. It is.
Oof, man, listen. Everyone going to fight 24/7. Anyway,
On the in some other depressing news, SAG-AFTRA is continuing their strike against video game companies as they have alleged that a lot of publishers and developers are like the contract that they're currently working on have, quote, alarming loopholes for AI abuse in the most recent proposal that's been laid to them. This is basically like the sticking point in getting an agreement hammered out is these developers and publishers' use of AI. Essentially, the video game publishing side has said like, hey, like we're offering 15% wage increases and health and safety protections, and we have what we think are fair terms of use for AI content in games, and additional compensation when AI is being used. And so they're kind of laying it at the feet of the voice actors. But at the same time, like, I fucking get where the voice actors are coming from. Like, this is a paradigm shift in the industry. And once you give that voice, it's theirs forever. And it's theirs to do whatever the fuck they want with, unless you have conditions in place that protect them, that prevent them from doing that.
I mean, you don't want to get me started on fucking AI and what corporations are going to do with it. Go ahead.
Have any of you seen or played Split Fiction?
Not yet.
I wanted to,
but I've heard it's very on the nose, like not at all subtle about its themes.
Like the story about Split Fiction is two women. They're writers, and they go to this guy, the CEO, and they put them in this little thing, and it's
an animus, basically.
An animus. And basically what this guy is doing is he's taking all of their ideas and putting them into one mainframe. So he's taking a whole bunch of people, putting them in this animus, and stealing their ideas to put them in this mainframe, so he doesn't need to use people to come up with ideas anymore.
I mean, come on.
That's basically the overarching story of Split Fiction. That's what this is. It's like, come on, yo. This is bullshit. All right.
Yeah.
AI. I remember the first time I heard an AI voice. It was about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was Joe Biden. I was listening to Pod Save America, and they did this funny Joe Biden voice, and he was saying a bunch of ludicrous shit, and I didn't know it was AI. I remember I was walking. I was in downtown Baltimore. I was listening to the episode, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on? Ooh, did he lose his mind?" Right? And then they were like, "No, that was AI." I'm like, I don't like any of that. I'm like, as soon as I heard, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like where this is possibly going to go. This is not good. I don't think I think AI should be banned, period, as far as like voice acting.
Honestly, I feel like we are inching ever closer to this AI bubble popping kind of anyway, because you have a lot of the bigger AI companies admitting that they've just lost a fuck ton of money because they have not found a way to make it profitable. And because of the fact that you have, your open AI people about to lose a big time fucking lawsuit over the fact that things like ChatGPT and Midjourney and all of these other horrendous bots basically just scrape everything, including all sorts of copyrighted works. Any kind of
OpenAI
consent.
and Google have both are both arguing in court, essentially like, hey, if you don't give us unfettered access to copyrighted works, like there's no way that we can make this whole fucking thing
Yeah, exactly.
work the way it needs to, which kind of gives away the ball game, like right there.
Right.
Exactly. I hope they fucking eat shit in court and that they go to hell. Like, I'm so sick of it.
Well,
I'm so sick of seeing ugly AI slop all over my timeline. I'm so sick of people posting chat GPT bullshit. I'm tired of it.
Well, and again, like it's like so much of what like for and people kind of get it twisted because we focus on the successes, right? Like we focus on the tech innovations that have hit big, but behind those huge hitting tech innovations, there's like 100 other projects that got venture capitalism funding that didn't go fucking anywhere, and that's because everything in Silicon Valley forever has always been trying to find a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. And that's kind of what AI is to me. Like AI is
AI is basically just causing like they're
specifically generative
Gen
AI, which is what we're kind of focusing in on here.
Yeah.
Like there are certainly uses
AI
for like large language models and stuff like that are very handy. And make a lot of sense. But yeah, Gen AI is what we're talking about specifically.
Yeah, I mean, there have already been studies that have shown that people that rely on things like ChatGPT to kind of like do their work for them lose the ability to critically think.
Right.
Like, it literally atrophies that part of your brain when you stop thinking for your fucking self and just have a machine do it for you. Like, these generative AI
20 years.
Yeah, it's like the generative AI shit is really just being like, what if you just never had an original thought for your fucking self ever again? Like, what if that happened? That's all it's doing. This is not some like grand technological innovation. They're just plagiarism machines that spit out overly wordy garbage or ugly looking fake photos and so-called artwork. When it's like, cool, but like there are literally people who are trained to do this. Like, I'm a full-time marketing copywriter, and I'm glad to work for a company that is interested in exploring potential uses for AI, but doesn't see any reason to actually get rid of me because it understands that human writing is still superior to any kind of bullshit spat out by ChatGPT. So no, I'm tired of it. I hope that SAG-AFTRA continues to fight against AI voices and whatnot, because once that seal is broken, that these game companies are going to do everything they can to just lean fully into AI nonsense.
I remember we were doing an episode of the Nerdopocalypse, and Jay used ChatGPT because he is uncreative and anti-worker. And he was like, we were talking about one of those Fast and Furious movies. I think it was the last one. And it was like, I'm going to type a Fast and Furious script into ChatGPT. I'm going to give it a prompt. And it gave and ChatGPT gave suggestions about like who could possibly play like the villain in it. And one of the names was Keanu Reeves. He was like, wow, this is actually really good. And I was like, bruh.
No, it's not.
No. Keanu Reeves, there was just a news story about Keanu Reeves passing on a role for Fast and Furious. That's where it got it from, bro. Like, it's not thinking up this stuff, right? Like, it doesn't know fucking his catalog.
No,
and shit.
it's literally just like it's amalgamating everything from
every little like headline, not even fucking stuff,
and throwing it in a fucking blender and spitting it back out. Like, with all due respect to Jay, which doesn't have to mean anything. No, here's the thing. All due respect doesn't have to mean any respect, right? So something always to keep in mind. But if you rely on ChatGPT or Midjourney or anything like this, you're a lazy dumbass. That's it. You're just a lazy dumbass. Fucking think for yourself. Because otherwise that part of your brain's just going to turn to mush.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I use ChatGPT for one thing and one thing only, is I type a summation of what we talk about on this podcast every week, and it spits out good like SEO keywords to use like in tags, and that's all I use it for, because I don't have time, or I don't feel like fucking sitting there matching tags to try to hit the SEO marks to help get the podcast out to more people. That's a good use of that shit.
Fair,
yeah.
And look, to be fair, I'm fucking with Jay. He doesn't create he doesn't like create art with it. Well, he does the
I was gonna say I've
cover
seen
art.
him do
He
the
does the
fucking
cover
YouTube
art.
thumbnails,
He does the YouTube,
which is
thumbnails,
also
but he
like,
doesn't-
come on, man.
But he
Every
doesn't
time I
use,
see it, I want to be like, can you fucking not? Can you not do that?
But he doesn't use it for like anything. He's not trying to pass anything off. He's using it to fuck around, and which it is what it is. But yeah, look, if you got a strike, and if that means like I can't get my games out, or I can't play my games, like I'm at a point in my life where it's like, all right, like whatever, man, like protect your worth,
Mhm.
right? Like I'm looking at a headline on Variety, and this is where we're at now. Ben Stiller, Mark Ruffalo, and more than 400 Hollywood names urge Trump to not let AI companies exploit copyrighted works. I didn't get a chance to read this article. That headline is like, yo, all these people, all these Hollywood actors are asking Trump to not side with a big company and to side with them. Like this is where we're at.
A big company whose CEO kissed his ass when he first got into office a couple of weeks ago, by the way.
Right. And all of you are all of you are very vocal about your politics, which you should be. But this is where we are, man.
Yeah. And if you want a good kind of collection of this, Ashley Burch put out a video on Instagram where she reacts, because on the heels of this news, Sony, I don't think they put this out. I think it leaked.
Sony failing to understand what the word irony means.
Right. It's basically like a tech demo of an employee engaging with an AI version of Aloy, the main character from the Horizon series. Now, in this tech demo, they did not use Ashley Burch's voice, fortunately. And Guerrilla Games reached out to her and assured her that this what made this demo was not based on anything that's actively in development right now. But she was fucking freaked out about it, which, is fucking fair, considering that, she is well known for voicing this character, and probably being her performance as being probably one of the better parts of those games. And here's Sony just being like, hey, like, look, we have an interactable thing that we can kind of do with this. And again, like, it's the same bullshit. Like, it's not like they're blowing minds with this shit. Like, every AI talkbot or talkback thing that I've ever seen, it just looks. We've talked on this show, a lot about how the more gaming tries to be photorealistic, the more like uncanny valley that they keep kind of reaching into, and that's kind of what this is, right? Like it's obviously not, like not well done.
Gaming is a medium that really excels with when people have a certain style, right? Like it's not like like movies are much better when things are a little more realistic, right? You do believe a man can fly, right? Like if you can pull that off, it's really, really impressive. But like gaming, you can use so much more imagination, and it doesn't need to be hyper realistic. That's why Nintendo is so incredibly successful.
Yeah,
right?
like I said, all their games look fucking timeless because they don't worry about keeping up with like the latest trends in visuals.
Right.
So it's silly, and unfortunately we're not going to stop hearing about this. We're only going to hear about it more and more. And again, like, this is one of those things that as it creeps into games, it was revealed that Activision uses AI assets in Call of Duty that people suspected for a long time, but it was finally proven point. So, like with anything else, I mean, it might be a futile effort, but just continue to be aware of this shit and vote with your wallet where appropriate, and let companies know. And to Micah's point, I hope all these voice actors get what they deserve as far as keeping this bullshit away from them, because there is a level of performance and genuineness that comes from a human performance that a machine just cannot replicate, no matter how much Silicon Valley wants you to think that it can. So,
and when was the last time, like, when we actually spoke with our wallets that something actually good came from it? I don't think people can do it. Unless they just don't have any money.
Well, that people and the other problem is that people, if you're listening to this podcast, like, you're probably keyed into the gaming industry and care very deeply about that stuff. But you're a minority of people who play games. Like, most people that buy games don't give a flying fuck about any of the stuff, aren't keyed into it. Call of Duty is the biggest gaming franchise on the planet. 80% of the people that buy that game are normies.
Yeah, those people just play those games.
Right.
They play Call of Duty, Madden, and fucking WWF.
Yeah.
WWE.
Like they're not aware that Call of Duty uses AI, and even if they were, I don't know that they'd give a shit, because they just want to go pew pew at things.
They want to shoot stuff.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. So, but hey, it makes you feel better when you vote with your wallet. So that's really all we're going for.
Look, I'm living in a glass house.
Right.
That next week.
That's right. Micah single-handedly helping Ubisoft put out woke games. Micah, I can't believe you're supporting this woke game, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever spoke on that, right? But look, they are 100% checking boxes with this Black Sabbath, right? They're 100% checking boxes.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm the fucking box. So I have no problem. It's nice to be checked once in a while.
Look, representation matters, but at the same time, I see what you motherfuckers are doing. You ain't gonna give me.
I just can't believe you guys are just not giving any thought or mind to all of the folks in Japan who have so limited options playing a game with Japanese samurai man as the lead character. There's none of them, and now they're giving out these roles to because of DEI, I suppose.
DEI samurai.
DEI samurai. Oh, that's probably floating around on a 4chan board somewhere, I bet. So, let's take our last break. When we come back, dip into the post office. Would you like to ask us questions that we answer on the show about a variety of things? Well, you need to be part of our Discord by going to deadspixels.com/fans, and you can join and ask questions in the Dead Pixels post office, just like Mark did, who asks, which fan base wins the most toxic award? Star Wars, video games, wrestling, or is it something else that I'm not thinking of?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I was about to say Star Wars.
Between those three, I think it's Star Wars. You got some dum-dums in video game fandom kind of at large. I would say maybe individual video games are probably more toxic. But no, Star Wars. Star Wars is far and away the most toxic fandom. I mean, you look at how the sequel trilogy played out. I was just talking about this with a friend of mine over dinner the other night. I used to love Star Wars, and the level of toxicity in the Star Wars fandom made me less of a Star Wars fan, and I grew up a Star Wars fan. And now it's it's hard for me to give a shit. So Star Wars.
Want to know what makes the Star Wars fandom the worst? These motherfuckers are in their late 50s.
Here, I mean,
the first Star Wars came out 77, and a lot of those older people are still talking crazy shit. I'm like, come on, yo, you're old. Knock it off. I understand younger folks. I understand younger folks are also very toxic, but this thing has been around for 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think the most toxic people in the fandom are honestly folks closer to our age. at least in my experience, just as far as like the
Yeah,
whiniest
the
fanboys.
the people who fell in love with the original trilogy were disappointed by the prequels and then got really pissed off when Disney took things over. I'm with you there.
But wait, aren't those the ones that they would be in their late 40s, early 50s? The first one came out in 77, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably actually looking at folks who are probably closer to their 60s at this point.
Yeah. This is not
but-
like, okay, bro. I don't give a fuck about Star Wars, honestly. So, but I just see the vitriol that just comes from these people's mouths. I'm like, it's fake. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with y'all? Video games.
I mean, the people. I mean, the
wrestling
people who are,
also, not fake, but fucking weirdos. Anyway.
the people who are rooting for fascism.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. They're people who do not understand that they are actually the Empire. They think they're Luke. They are the Empire.
bunch of fucking idiots.
Yep.
I agree with you. Out of these three options, Star Wars definitely takes it, but may I posit neo-progressives as probably a greater toxic fan base than
I mean,
even all three of these.
I mean, they're like Sideshow Bob, just fucking stepping on rakes, man, and then just getting mad. Like, all right, man, I can't, man, I can't. I'm leaving the Democratic Party. Bye.
Okay, cool, bye. Goodbye.
Beach Boy, which I think is a new commenter, so thank you for that. After hearing last week's episode and how Micah had Monster Hunter FOMO, I caved and bought a copy that day. I've played early adaptations, but World brought me back into the fold. Rise is pretty good but lacking. So my question is, what special assignments would you love to see come back, and what would your next weapon of choice to main be?
So, special assignments. So, I don't know that either of you two know what special assignments are in Monster Hunter. Special assignments are basically they're free DLC quests from Monster Hunter World, and then you had to complete these quests to basically access the monsters that were added to them. So, like, that's how you first hunted things like the Deviljho or Teostra and Lunastra and stuff like that. That's also where you got the crossover content. So, like, the Final Fantasy XIV crossover and the Witcher 3 crossover were both special assignments. There were also Master Rank special assignments. So, for me, as far as special assignments, like, I really want to see the FF14 crossover come back because it was far and away the most difficult high rank quest in Vanilla World. You had to fight the Behemoth. And like, boy howdy, like Behemoth could just like party wipe you so fast if he did I think it was called Ecliptic Meteor or whatever. Yeah, like you were just dead. Like that was just it. If you didn't like do the meteor move right, it was just done. Like that was it. So like that would be cool. The other part of the FF14 special assignments were included the Kuluyaku quest. Now Kuluyaku is generally considered like baby's first monster hunt in World, especially because he's basically just like a shitty chicken. But the Kuluyaku in the special assignment has gotten a hold of one of the crystals from Final Fantasy. And so, and he has it the whole time. Kuluyaku typically picks up like rocks or like a clay jar or something like that to use as a weapon. So he has the crystal on him the whole time, and the crystal actually makes the Kuluyaku get progressively larger over the course of the fight. This is a Kuluyaku with like the strength and stamina of a fucking elder dragon. Like it is God's shittiest Kuluyaku. It's so funny. The other kind of big crossover one was the Witcher 3 crossover special assignment, which allowed you to fight the Leshen. I was not as into that personally. I would not like, I wouldn't miss that, but I would like another FF14 one. I think that was really cool. As far as like other general event quests that would be in rotation, I really hope they bring back the Greatest Jagras, because the Greatest Jagras was the easiest way to grind decorations. because you would just like beat the shit out of this particular great Jagras and you would kind of like spit up gems basically. I would really like that to come back. The Greatest Jagras was my favorite event quest. So yeah, as far as just like monsters in general, I would like to see Devil Joe come back. I miss the pickle. I feel like I'm talking in tongues to a bunch of people who don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, look,
He will know.
all I
He will
heard was-
know. He will know one day.
The Devil
all I
Joe.
heard- All I
The
heard
pickle.
you say was, "I missed the pickle," and my mind went somewhere else.
Michael, what do you think your next main is going to be once you eventually get through with Longsword?
I don't know. Like I said, I want to try bow. I don't want to do sword and shield just because that seems kind of basic.
Sword and Shield rips.
But I don't want anything too complicated, right? Like I feel like I'm too dumb to play Switch Axe. You know what I mean?
Then stay away from Charge Blade. And
Yeah, I was gonna
Gunlance
say like
as well.
Switch Axe is pretty unga bunga as far as the weapon types go. Whereas like you better know how to do fucking trigonometry if you want to learn how to play Charge Blade correctly.
No. You need to know Trig if you want to play Hunting Horn correctly. Charge Blade just requires mere calculus to be able to effectively do it. So
You only need to know algebra in order to do this correctly.
And Beach Boy also says, I get it, Mike. I have 2 kids, a 6-month-old and a 7-year-old. Since last Tuesday, I've amassed 42 hours of gameplay, and the sleep deprivation at work is worth it.
Jesus Christ.
Mad Coco G asks, favorite video game ad? They've run the range of cool to okay, someone didn't care was high when they came up with this. Nintendo Who Are You ad run was good, though. Now, for you younger listeners, unfortunately, you missed the golden age of video game advertisements because the ads that popped up during the 90s in video game magazines were some of the most insane shit that you've ever seen in your entire life, as well as some of the commercials that would run as well. Yet, for me, my undisputed favorite video game ad campaign of all time, and if you're watching on video, you can see an autographed picture from this man sitting above my head in my background. The Kevin Butler ads from PlayStation during the during the late aughts, early 10s were the best video game ads I've ever seen. So. Fucking love it.
Were they the ones and then they eventually introduced the black kid?
We don't talk about Marcus, the PSP kid. We don't.
I was like, yo,
we don't
what
talk
are they?
about him.
What are they doing? Yo,
Yeah.
like
So in terms of print ads, my favorite is probably, and the one that I remember the most, I do remember because I was subscribed to Nintendo Power for years and years, and I actually still have all my old issues. And literally sometimes I will sit and look through an old one, mostly to just like laugh at the old advertisements because so many of them were so out of pocket. I do like the Who Are You ads. I thought those were really cleverly done. I also really liked the Play It Loud campaign for Game Boy when they were like at the time I believe they were promoting the Game Boy Pocket's different colors, and I want to say that carried into the Game Boy Color era too, but yeah, there was like the Play It Loud ads where it was just like Game Boys coming out of people's heads basically. Something about that always stuck with me. But in terms of like commercials, the original American commercial for Golden Sun is so wild because it has nothing to do with the game. It's a symphony orchestra like playing a piece that was not written by Motoi Sakuraba, the game's composer. It's just them, and then like the conductress like is waving the baton, and then the chandelier turns into a dragon. And then they like, you see the violin players like shooting their bows at the chandelier dragon as though it's like a bow and arrow. And then at the end, it's like Golden Sun. And when that commercial came out, it didn't have fuck all to do with the game. Like there was nothing like any of that in the game. And then when Golden Sun Dark Dawn came out almost a full decade later, they put the Chandelier Dragon from the American commercial into the game as a summon. They retconned him into existence into the game's canon, which I always thought was really cool. But yeah, the original Golden Sun commercial is just fucking bonkers to me.
I don't know if I have a favorite ad, but I am looking at a website that shows a bunch of video game ads from the 80s and 90s. Wow, what a time, man! There's one of a Native American that.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Good Lord, like who did Vince McMahon come up with this ad? Like this is ridiculous, man. There's one with everyone remember Gex the gecko. He's got an ad where he's doing the Janet Jackson pose. What? There's a pro fishing challenge ad with a woman in a bikini catching a big bass, and it just says size does matter. And it's like, all right. There's a racing one where it just says shift happens. This is a hell of a time, man. And then various women in tight clothing.
Oh, I found a print ad for the Batter Up that we were talking about a couple weeks ago.
There's an ad with a woman who looks like she's about to play Gerald's Game. If you are aware of Stephen King,
this Game Boy Pocket.
It's a Game Boy game.
Yeah, I literally just looked at that. That was
Nintendo's marketing department in the 90s had a time a little bit. So,
my goodness! This Native American one is. This is out of pocket, yo.
It is completely out of pocket.
Like, god damn. So yeah, this is I don't know if I have a favorite. I had one that I was pissed every time I saw it, because as much as I was a Nintendo person, the Genesis does what Nintendo don't ads really made me mad, because it's like, fuck you, right? Because I don't have one.
Because you heard that Genesis does,
yeah,
and like
still a great jingle, for sure. So
I had and then we would go to Blockbuster to rent the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the thing you also used to be able to do in stores, kid. The first time I ever played the Virtual Boy was because I rented one from Blockbuster Video. So
the Blockbuster rental Virtua Boys, when they hit auction, they go for a lot of money.
Yeah, it's because they came in like a fucking Pelican case that was actually really nice. So I didn't have a
PlayStation 1. My first PlayStation 1 was a PSONE.
Oh yeah.
And I stole that from Kmart. But I did play the PSX, but I had to rent it from Blockbuster, and the only game that I liked was Battle Arena Toshinden.
I mean,
wasn't that like the first game?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I remember when I got my PlayStation, I went into the Penny Saver. There's a blast from the past for you kids out there.
Damn.
And I bought a lot of games from a local person that was selling them, and Battle Arena Toshinden was among that initial lot that I had. So, yeah.
I actually got the PlayStation in '95. Yeah, when it first came out. My brother got the Sega. What the hell was it? Sega Saturn, and I got the PlayStation. And later, I think my favorite commercial was probably the Dreamcast commercials, just in general. Those were great. Like I bought my Dreamcast $99.99. Remember that?
Did you guys? By the way, I've been reading this basically a book of like essays about game consoles throughout history. Did you guys know that like Sega Saturn had like over 700 games released, but most of the vast majority of them came out in Japan only? Yeah, I had no clue. I had no clue.
It wasn't like Japan loved the system.
They did.
Yeah.
Didn't do shit over here.
Yeah. Thanks to some marketing missteps by Sega of America. So
I mean, you can go into it, but really, it was the flop of the Saturn that really caused the end of Sega's hardware department. They just, for as good as the Dreamcast was, it just wasn't able to bring them back. But
100%.
I love my fucking Dreamcast. Like that thing was a great system. Like the
very
first
ahead of
one
its time.
Internet.
T-Wash asks,
Phantasy Star Online, I miss you, bitch.
You know how much time I put into Phantasy Star Online? Probably the same amount of time that Michael put into fucking the city.
well, at least PSO was a game worth spending that much time
PSO
in.
was like it was worth putting that money. That
was
time
over
in.
dial-up, nigga. That was crazy.
You tied up the phone line doing that shit
On a fucking Dreamcast. But again, I was like 20 years old when that game came out.
T-Wash asks, who's your favorite villain? Mine is the main character of the Saints Row games. I never noticed all the heinous stuff they did until now. I guess we're talking about video games specifically here when we're talking about video game villains.
Oh man,
Doesn't really get around an answer for that one.
It's hard to beat Kefka, right? Like
I was about to
Kefka's up
say,
there,
yeah, it was gonna be Kefka. GLaDOS is hilarious.
GLaDOS is good. Yeah, GLaDOS is up there.
Who else?
Bobby Kotick, also definitely up in the rankings.
I mean, he's not my favorite, but yeah, he is a villain. Who else? You know what? I'm looking at a list of villains here. You remember Braid?
Mm-hmm.
The protagonist in
The
Braid.
protagonist in Braid, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers for a near 20-year-old game, Michael.
Whatever, fuck
Watch
that
out.
game.
Stephen Armstrong. Does that?
Oh,
does
yeah,
that name ring a bell?
The fuck is that?
Metal Gear Rising.
Nanomachine, son.
Oh,
Did you play Metal Gear Rising?
I did. I don't remember. I didn't.
Interesting. He,
I didn't-
Steve, like Senator Armstrong is well regarded as for people who play that.
I don't think I
game.
finished it.
Oh, there you go.
That's-
Well, that'd be why.
That'd be why. Because you
Honestly-
will remember him.
So like Ganondorf, but specifically Wind Waker Ganondorf, I think is probably up there in terms of like most compelling overall. I think he had like the best motivations outlined in that game. I also really liked Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was pretty interesting as well. Different way to handle the character. Kerrigan from StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
We
Look,
went
as much
from,
as
like,
I'm
Being a hero to being a villain to, I guess, being a hero to being the villain. And she straddled the line for quite a long time, but she's a badass. I like her.
as much as I'm kind of sick of Borderlands, and it is, of its time. Handsome Jack was compelling, man. Like he was very much like the reason why I'm getting through this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to see, what happens next. And then you just have people who are like just evil just to be evil, right? Like Wesker and why is Robotnik on this? I don't know.
Michael, would you put like Goro Majima in the villain category, or is he more of like a frenemy at this
He's
point?
he's a friend.
I don't think he's a
very
villain.
much.
I
okay.
like Majima.
Yeah. He's not even a friend of me. He's a rival. He's like your friendly rival. You know what I mean? Like he's what if that relationship is like, what if the Joker and Batman just kind of sat down and just talked about why they don't like each other and just became friends, right? Like Kiryu is Batman. He's all stoic and just like tough and shit, does the right thing. And Majima is just like wacky and crazy and goofy, but like they respect each other at the end of the day.
I think Fallout has historically had some very good villains. Benny, obviously from the jump in New Vegas, I always thought was really interesting. In so much that the game opens with him literally shooting you in the head. Also, R.I.P. Matthew Perry and all of that. But like Mr. House, I think is a really interesting villain, and everything about the Legion, I think, is pretty compelling. I didn't do my annual posting of Critical Strike on Caesar on the Ides this year. I fucked up. Forgot to do that. It's my favorite. My favorite Ides of March activity is loading up Fallout New Vegas and going and killing Caesar myself.
Do you have like a save just like right there?
Yeah, somewhere I've got like an older save file. But the best part is that like I always bring Boone with me to do it on March 15th, because Boone he shows up with anyway I started blasting kind of energy. He does not even let you talk to those motherfuckers. He's like, fuck those guys, they took my wife. And I'm like, all right, dude, you're so right. Like, kill them all. I don't give a fuck, man.
If Alex Mercer is your favorite video game villain, you need to play more video games. Alex Mercer is Prototype.
From Prototype?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
No. The fuck? Frank Fontaine was pretty good from BioShock.
From BioShock, yeah.
But was he better? Or was Andrew Ryan better from BioShock?
I mean, the perceived villain, sure, but
I mean, Andrew Ryan was still a villain.
He's a he was, but, I mean, in the scope of the actual game, I would say Frank Fontaine is the more villainous person. He's fucking manipulating you through the whole damn.
He is, and you can't do anything to stop it except not playing. It's the only way to win. It's not to play. So, all right, somebody help me out. Is Cam? What is Cam? I
don't know.
Cam posted a photo of a Beard Papa's, which is it's a dessert chain. They're all over the place. I've had them on the East Coast, and there's actually one like 20 minutes from me out here in Concord. Yeah, I like Beard Papa's. I don't go too often because I'm not trying to eat cream puffs like that, but Beard Papa's specializes in cream puffs. So you choose like a shell, and you can have like a plain cream puff shell, or you can have one that's been dipped in like chocolate or cookies and cream or honey butter. They also, because I think they're a Japanese based company, so you can also get like ube or green tea. And then you choose like a filling, which is like vanilla or chocolate or ube or like a specialty seasonal thing. And yeah, it's good. Beard Papa's is good. It's a silly name for a dessert place, but I like Beard Papa's. I got no beef with Beard Papa's. If you have one near you and you like little pastries, I would suggest you try it. It's good.
I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever had a cream puff.
You never had a cream puff?
That's some white shit. I don't think I've ever had a cream puff.
Yeah.
It's a French pastry, so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to France. I've never had a cream puff.
No,
well, you ain't living, apparently.
It's a little pastry shell with filling. Like, it's basically just like a fancy donut, except it's made out of like puff pastry instead of like yeast dough. So.
Okay.
Hey, I'll take your word for it. I'm not. I mean, I'd try one.
It's like biting into a cloud.
Never had one.
It's like biting.
Yeah,
into
they're
a
real.
cloud,
They're really, really light. That's the thing. That's what
Is it like a beignets?
I would say it's probably closer to a beignet.
Okay.
Yeah, except they're usually a little bit bigger. I mean, you can obviously find big beignets out there.
I was about to say, bigger than a beignet?
I've had some fat ass beignets. I've also had some little.
That's
beignets.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are these cream puffs like softball size?
Yeah, they're like softball size. Like, they're big. Yeah. So at least a full size cream puff at Beard Papa's is basically like closer to like softball circumference, let's say. And then you can also get little ones. I don't know. It's good.
So then, yes, I would check out Beard Papa's were I around one. So, C. Kent asks, I'm playing Dragon Quest III for the first time. Is it me, or are these old RPGs 90% grinding and random encounters and 10% story? The Dragon Quest series in particular, yes.
Yes. Here's the thing. I would also say the same thing about like the
Very early
NES
Final
era.
Fantasy. Yeah.
The NES era Final Fantasies are also very much like that. I think Final Fantasy V is also kind of like that. 4 and 6 are the ones that are a little more plot heavy. But yeah,
5 is just hard. Like there's a lot of
5
story in 5.
look,
It's
that's
just
fair.
hard. Yeah.
It's hard, and so you end up having to grind a lot
Right.
accordingly. There's more story than there are in like the earlier Dragon Quests, but yeah, our old Dragon Quest as a franchise is known for being a grind fest, and the earlier you go in that franchise, the more of a grind it's going to be. So
And
yeah.
it doesn't help that in Dragon Quest, like unlike Final Fantasy, because those are the two easiest to compare. Like Dragon Quest focuses on like your PC, and the story revolves around them, and then like all the other people that are in your party are just like mercs that you hire to bring.
Yeah,
along
you
for the
literally
ride.
just have extraneous party members who can all be clowns if you want them to be in Final
Yeah.
Fantasy or in Dragon Quest 3.
I
So.
played Dragon Quest 8. I
8's
actually
good.
finished that game, and there was a lot of grinding involved in that game.
And that's considered
where I
one of
was
the
like,
more
what the-
balanced entries.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Because then 9 came out, and they were like, "We're back to grinding again." Like
Yeah,
we are
mine was a
on the grind
grind fest. I
treadmill.
played the
Yeah.
shit out of 9. I'm gonna be
9
real
was
with y'all. I
back
played.
to grinding. What are
Yes.
you saying right now?
Yeah, I.
No, like I beat Dragon Quest 8, and I remember in the end game, I would just like farm gold slimes, what the fuck, to be incredibly over leveled, and it
Yep.
took forever. And I'm like, I don't. Okay, man, whatever. This
Yeah.
is stupid.
This is why I've never
The
clicked.
last time.
This is why I've never clicked with the Dragon Quest series, because I don't find it entertaining to just grind out random encounters constantly.
Yeah, and they were literally just super random. Like you're just walking 10 steps later, you're in another fight. I'm like, yo, come on, please. I can't even get to my destination. Yeah, no, I don't like that. I don't like that game design.
I would recommend to Seeken if you want an old school RPG with no grinding and you just want to get mainline story, play Chrono Trigger.
So here's a fun fact. I still haven't played Chrono Trigger, but I feel like I'm going to do it this year because the 30th anniversary of the game was last week, and I should probably.
It's on sale on Steam for like $3. You better.
No,
you
I
better,
already have it.
Oh, you already
Here's
have it.
the
Okay,
thing.
great.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have owned Chrono Trigger on Steam, since like 2 years ago.
It is shocking to me that you've never played Chrono Trigger.
It's shocking
Because
to
you
me
are
too.
you.
Yeah.
Because
Right? Right? You know, for sure. I mean, it's my understanding, I've been told many times by many people that Chrono Trigger is very streamlined. It's like a 25-hour experience top to bottom. And it also, of course, has one of the best SNES soundtracks of all time. So, like, I should, but I haven't. So,
you really should.
at some point.
You really
I
should.
know.
You should
I'm
literally
aware.
plan to do it this year at some point.
No, that's I want to literally. I would have started within the last couple of days if I wasn't flying to the East Coast on Thursday afternoon. So once I get back, once I am past these couple of shows that I have to do, and I can have spare time to actually sink into an RPG instead of just practicing music from RPGs, then yeah, absolutely.
Finally, Jamal asks, with the anxiety of current times, what is one activity, movie, item, etc. that calms you down and makes you feel a little bit better?
Masturbation.
I mean, with the realness, though.
I was gonna say porn, but beat me to it. nigga. Oh man,
Holy shit.
bunch of degenerates.
Oh, man.
Honestly, but like for real, like a lot of these dudes out here who are like, why won't women like me? Like just
probably just go ahead and just rub one out.
do what you got to
off.
do, man, and then
off, man.
like
Feel great afterwards.
That post
skeet all that
Clary's
aggression
gonna
out of
hit,
you, man.
you're gonna realize that women are not the problem. It's your
Right.
terrible personality that needs work.
It's not very difficult to talk to people. I mean, unless you're an introvert, which I am, but you got to start the
I
conversation.
mean, look, there's being an introvert and there's being a jackass. They are two very different things.
I'm amazed the
Yeah, it can
speed
be
to which
both.
we pivoted off of
Sometimes
the
you can
original
be.
question to just
But
to
no-
completely to like
But no, honestly,
how to
lately, because I've been trying to get these two motherfuckers to finish airing of grievances for the last 4 years.
Look, you know who you got to tell.
I
You
know.
got to talk to the person that just released last week's episode of Nerdopocalypse. That's who you got to talk to.
Right, like I have the entire series of Seinfeld, so I will randomly just like throw in an episode of Seinfeld. It'll just be on in the background. I've seen them several times at this point. That show's very funny. I came incredibly late to the party, but I'll put an episode on. I saw an article maybe 2 days ago about an episode that the person said, I can't finish this episode because it's too cringe. And I'm like, first of all, it's the 90s, relax. But it was a Cigar Store Indian episode.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it was super offensive. It's like, yes, it was offensive, but
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of the point.
It was offensive
Jerry-
even then.
Jerry's being a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, it was leading into
The
it.
whole
so.
point was Jerry's being an asshole. What's wrong with you? But anyway, yeah, that's what I do. Besides masturbation. Just saying.
I have my comfort games, right? Like I think we all have those comfort games that we kind of rotate in between. And even while I'm playing Civ and 2 Point and Monster Hunter, I'm still playing Slay the Spire and Lumines and Tetris Effect and the Zachtronic Solitaire. Like we all have those games that we just kind of revert back to. We can kind of turn our brain off a little bit while we're playing. I've also found a lot of relaxation in watching specific content creators like doing Let's Plays as like background noise while I'm doing something else. So like a series that I'm really enjoying right now, Jeff Gersman has been going through on his channel playing and ranking every NES game ever, basically. And yeah, and so that's been a lot of fun because sometimes he plays something really fun and sometimes it is a big old heap of garbage fire. But just kind of having that running in the background. There's also there's a Twitch channel that just streams old Giant Bomb content randomly, like it's just a random assortment, which again is a nice reassurance in the background as well. So like the kind of shit like that, just stuff that can just kind of be ever present, but I don't have to pay attention to. It helps calm me down quite a bit. So,
I like a good farming sim. We know this.
let me tell you,
I definitely play. So I haven't gotten back to it yet, but there was a big update for Fields of Mystria, and
let me tell you,
uh-huh.
Emily finally started playing Mystria like 3 weeks
Oh,
ago,
boy.
about a month ago.
Oh boy,
It has been
it is so over.
nonstop. She is over 80 hours at this point in
Okay.
like 4 weeks time.
That's
So.
more than I have. I've got like 25.
I've never seen someone. I've never seen her follow like that update that came out a couple weeks ago. Like she was like counting the days until the update came out.
Yeah, that's the one I've been waiting on. I just haven't had the time to go back to it. Yeah, farming sims make my brain feel good. Big fan of that. I've also been playing some of the older Pokemon titles, or even older style Pokemon titles. I had never finished Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I started replaying that as my latest playing game. That's nice. It's familiar. I know what's going to happen. I have my little party of characters, of little monsters that I like. That's been really nice. I've been watching my favorite Digimon series, which I haven't watched in a long time, but introducing my partner to Digimon Savers, which is my favorite Digimon season. So we're several episodes into that, and that's been really nice. I watch Monday Night Raw every week. This week's episode was fucking.
That's you're really keeping.
I know.
Up
I
with it.
got really. Yeah, I'm in it now.
Did
So
you
that's
enjoy John
fun.
Cena's first heel promo back this
Ooh,
week?
no, yeah, dude, that was some shit today. That was a lot of fun. I'm starting to understand some of these storylines, but all I know is I really like seeing Penta do backflips into shitty little white boys, and seeing a guy like Ludwig Kaiser get fucking rocked week after week. That brings me a great deal of joy. Also, Rhea Ripley hot. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Agree
And
100%.
Yeah.
Like,
hot.
got a huge okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I try to do deliberate non-screen based things for myself. So I do a lot more painting these days. I listen to vinyl records. I deliberately put myself like away from, my computer, my phone and whatnot, and just sort of like exist in a nice little art focused moment. I also sometimes go completely insane and just sit and arrange music at like 1 a.m. because I can't get my brain to shut up. So I have to put that energy into something. So it might as well be something creative. So that's why I have a backlog of like a dozen songs that need to be tracked at this point. New Biscore album on the way. It's gonna be real good. Yay. Being a queer woman in America right now is infuriating every single day.
Yeah.
And if I don't do these things, I'm going to stab someone. So if I get within arm's reach of Elon, it is so fucking over. I am so going to jail.
Well, you'll have to get through his 4-year-old first that he'll hold up as protective
His human
shield.
Fuck them
Yeah.
kids. I don't give a fuck about those kids. I will drop kick that motherfucker so fast. Are you kidding me? I don't give a fuck.
Just punch around him.
Should have had a different dad.
It's a funny joke.
It was a funny joke, man. It was. The special was okay, but that was a funny joke.
Oh my goodness, that's a good place to leave the podcast. This is a good podcast, everybody. That's what we do here. So, don't forget to join the Discord, densepixels.com/fans. Subscribe to us on YouTube by going to youtube.com/densepixels. You can of course subscribe to all the other TNP shows as well in the podcast app if you're choosing, just by searching TNP Studios. And if you want to support us with zeal, go to densepixels.com/premium. And give us $5 a month to tell us that you support what we do, and also gets you access to the premium content that TNP Studios puts out. That is going to be it for us this week. Thank you all very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you all the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.